Hey guys, Dr. Steve Hoffman back with another episode of Core Wellness TV. Today it is back to nature. As you can see, we are in, or I am in, Rebecca and I and Nathaniel came down to Van Buren, Missouri to visit Rebecca's parents for the weekend. And I always love to come out here, out to the end of M Highway, and we're coming up to the, sorry for the spinning, Chilton Creek ramp access to the current river. And the reason I like to always come out in nature, because that's what this whole thing is all about, is following natural ways versus man-made ways to fix yourself in all kinds of ways. But today specifically I'm going to talk about your feet and why really not the best idea to always go straight to a big, heavy, controlling orthotic or a big heel lift if you take x-rays and they see that something's out of order with your leg length or whatever. Don't immediately just say, well, let's jack that up with a heel lift that's 1.5 inches tall. You know, we're going to talk about how to manage some of those things without immediately. I'm not saying it's never necessary, because if there is a big, huge leg length discrepancy and you're walking like this because your leg is 6 inches shorter than the other, then hey, yes, some kind of an orthopedic device that brings you back into balance makes sense. But most of the time we can handle this stuff by working with the body and working with nature. So come up on the river here and spin around, walk backwards for a second down the ramp so you can see current river. And what I'm doing right now is one of those things that you can do to help with things like plantar fascitis, heel spurs and things like that, is I'm using my foot muscles a whole lot here, because I'm on an unstable surface. This is made of like, looks like maybe 1x1 concrete blocks for traction. And I'm wearing my Merrill trail gloves, which have basically no support at all. I have a small, thin, I have another video, I'll link to it on here, but it basically has no arch support, no nothing. There's zero drop, meaning there's no heel. It lets my foot do what it's supposed to do. Naturally lets my toes spread and lets my foot adapt like it's designed to do. So anyway, I'm going to switch my camera angle here and set up so I can do some footwork with you. Right, so the first thing that I mentioned earlier was the idea of, if your leg length discrepancy shows up really off on an examination or an x-ray or something like that, why do we always go straight to a big old heel lift when sometimes it can be functional and it can be corrected through functional ways? Meaning, I'll tell you what, the light is better now. Okay, so here I stand in the river. Roll my pant legs up just a little bit more. Okay, so if I'm standing here and if I have an arch on my right side that falls in like this and my leg goes in like this, it's going to shorten that leg. It's going to turn that femur inwards, and it'll look like this leg is shorter and this leg is taller, and on an x-ray it'll look all jacked up. Okay, so is that a problem with the leg length? No, it's a problem with getting your arches back online, or getting your arches back aware of your arches again. Most of us have become disassociated with our feet because we've been wearing big, thick, tight coffins on our feet for years and years and years. So that's why go as barefoot as you can, as minimal as you can, and start slowly into that and start learning how to use your arches again. So that's one thing. There can be, there can be something in your shoulder that's really, problematic up here that causes everything else to get jacked up. So I'm just saying, make sure you don't just immediately concede to wearing a lift for the rest of your life. That's my first number one point. There's 1,001 different ways why those things can happen, so I can't get into fixing every one of those. But before you concede, ask. That's all I'm saying. Okay? The other thing is, as far as plantar fasciitis goes and foot problems and heel spurs, I often tell people, get back in control of your feet again. Let's learn how to use your intrinsic foot muscles, the little guys, the ones that spread your toes. Let me see if I can, let me grab this. It's going to be kind of shaky here for a second. I'm going to down to my knee and bring you to my foot. Okay, there we are. Most of us have forgotten how to make a arch actively with your foot. And I'm talking about the distance from here to here, from the base of your big toe to your heel. We want to shorten that. Practicing just making that little short foot happen. It's called doming of the foot. It's the core of the foot. Become aware of that again. Most of us have forgotten that because we've been using shoes that have been controlling our feet for so long. So that's one thing. And I'm not talking about, picking that big toe pillar up off the ground. I'm not talking about doing this. I'm talking about small movements. The movement is happening here. Okay? That's short foot. Another way you can do it, is to spread your toes. Practice taking your big toe and moving it outward. By doing that, you're automatically activating the short foot system, or the arch of your foot. Just trying to spread your toes as much as you can overall. Keep that ability to spread your toes. A little challenging proprioceptive episode today. So anyway, hope those things help. I'll put a link back to the barefoot shoe review that I did. And I think I did one other one where I was barefoot, where I'll try and link to that too. But anyway, don't concede to immediate orthotics and heel lifts and things like that. Ask, where's the distortion up the chain, and how can we fix this without immediately making me wear this for the rest of my life? Especially the really rigid orthotics. If we can get away with learning how to use your feet again, and just, again, when you go into this, you want to go in slow. Wear it for, if you get a minimal shoe or a zero drop shoe, wear it for an hour a day, and then get out of it, and then the next day you wear it for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you slowly go into this new philosophy and take control of your feet. So these are a couple of myths, so hopefully I broke for you today, or busted for you today. I have another full training that's all about posture myths. The myth of shoulders back, pinch your shoulder blades together, pull your belly button to your spine, all these things that have been disproven over time. And if you're on YouTube, it'll be in the description below. And if you're on the blog, it should be somewhere on this page where you can just go to posture myths. It should be gettoyourcore.com/myths. Should get you there. But if that doesn't, there'll be a link somewhere around this video. Okay? So thanks, guys. And get out in nature. Get barefoot. Put your feet on the ground. And have fun.